What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing the 1999 Toyota Altezza RS200 Z Edition. Built to B Class 600 with a rear-wheel drive road setup. The goal for this build was pretty simple. Take what the Altezza already does well, improve the speed and responsiveness, and keep it feeling like a believable late 90s Japanese sports sedan. Because this car does not need to become something completely different to be enjoyable. The Altezza is iconic because it blends a lot of things people love about Japanese performance cars. It has that simple, clean sedan shape. It has a naturally aspirated engine that wants to rev. It is rear-wheel drive, and it has that everyday usability that makes it feel like the kind of car you could drive to work during the week and then take to a mountain road or track day on the weekends. So in this review, we are going to look at how it feels stock, handles around the Hokubu time attack, what customization options it has, and then how much better it gets once it's built for B Class. Starting off with the stock numbers, this car comes with 208 horsepower, 159 foot-pounds of torque, just under 3,000 pounds, and rear-wheel drive. It's running off the 2-liter Beams 3S GE inline-4 engine, and that engine is really the heart of the car. This is not a torque-heavy engine. It's not going to shove you forward from low RPM like a big turbo 6-cylinder or V8. Instead, this car wants you to rev it out. Power is higher in the RPM range, and because of that, the car feels very period correct. It feels like an affordable sports sedan from the late 90s. Not overpowered, not hyper-aggressive, just light enough, balanced enough, and willing enough to have fun with. Stock, the Altezza has a very calm personality. It does not immediately feel like a race car, but it also does not feel lazy. It feels like a car that was designed to be driven by someone who cared about driving. There's enough chassis balance here that you can tell Toyota gave it some attention, and that makes it a really good starting point for a road build. In stock form, acceleration is steady and predictable. The power curve is smooth, and because peak horsepower comes higher up in the RPM range, the car feels best when you let it breathe. It's not the kind of car that rockets out of corners, but it builds speed cleanly. The downside is that the low-end torque is definitely limited. If you let the revs fall too far, it can feel a little flat. But when you keep it in the right part of the power band, it has that classic, naturally aspirated feel where the car rewards clean driving and good gear selection. Brakes are also surprisingly good for a stock car. There's minimal wheel lock, the car stays settled under braking, and you can actually delay your braking point more than you might expect. It does not dive aggressively, and it does not get nervous as soon as you start leaning on the pedal. For a street space sedan, it gives you a lot of confidence. Steering is one of the stronger parts of the car's stock. It responds well to inputs. Body roll is present but controlled, and the car does not feel like it's fighting you. Some stock cars in Forza feel like they need upgrades immediately just to become enjoyable, but the Altezza is not like them. It already feels composed. You turn in, the front end takes a set, and the rear follows without doing anything dramatic. On corner entry, the Altezza likes to be controlled and smooth. It's not a car that you want to throw in too aggressively, but if you slow the car down properly, it gives you a lot of front grip. You can start feeding throttle back in just before the apex, and the rear stays planted enough that you do not have to tiptoe around it. That's a big part of what makes this car enjoyable. It is rear-wheel drive, but it is not scary. Mid-quarter balance is solid. The car continues to rotate without snapping, and you can hold around 50 to 75% throttle through a lot of corners once the car is settled. There is a tiny bit of understeer, but it's the safe kind of understeer. It gives you a warning, not the kind where the car just washes completely wide and refuses to come back. Corner exit traction is really good. The rear tires do a great job of putting power down, which makes sense because the car is not making a ton of torque. You can be pretty confident getting back to throttle, and the car rarely feels like it wants to step out unless you really force it. Trade-off is that it's not explosive. Stock, the car is smooth more than it is fast. The sound is also exactly where it should be. It's not over raspy. It's not trying to sound like a race car. It has a nice blend of sporty and comfort which fits the whole personality of the car. Just loud enough to remind you that the engine has character, but not so loud that it ruins the luxury sport sedan vibe. For free roam, this is a great city car. Feels good on tighter roads, it has enough steering response to make back streets fun, and it has that clean, late 90s sedan look that makes it perfect for cruising or car meet style content. Where it's not as strong is highway driving or long, wide open back roads. The car just does not have the power to make those sections exciting. It's much happier where technical and momentum and balance matter more than raw speed. For the stock test, we took the car to Oakabu Time Attack, and the car ran a 103.901. Best sector was Sector 1, where the car used its stability through the wider, higher speed sweeps. That section really showed off how composed the stock chassis is. The worst section was Sector 3, especially through the right-left switches. That is where the stock power and stock response started to feel a little limited. The car handled the track very naturally though. The factory sport components do a lot for it, and body roll is much more controlled than you might expect from something that still feels like a street car. The main takeaway from the stock lap is this. The Altezza is not fast stock, but it is good stock, and that's a very important difference. Customization is another area where the Altezza does pretty well. For wheels, I would definitely stick with something sport styled. This car looks best when it stays clean. Think simple multi-spokes, period correct Japanese wheels, or something that looks like it belongs on a street track build. Aero, you do have Forza Aero available, which is useful if you want maximum grip, though visually it may not be everyone's favorite choice. The body kit options are actually pretty good. You get multiple TRD bumper options, along with C-West, Kaminari, and Still-In kits. That gives you a few different directions to take the car. You can make it look like a factory plus track car, tuner car, or slightly more aggressive street build. For conversions, you have both turbo and supercharger options, and for engine swaps, this car gets some very serious choices. The 1JZ 2.5 liter inline 6, the 2JZ 3 liter inline 6, a 6.2 liter V8, the 4.8 liter V10 from the LFA, and the 5 liter V8 from the GRGT. So yes, you can turn this thing into something completely ridiculous if you want to, but for this review, we are not doing that. The whole point of this build is to keep the Altezza feeling like an Altezza. Paint and livery potential is solid as well. There are around 10 factory colors to choose from, and the body shape is simple enough that it works well with clean street liveries, mild race liveries, or Japanese-inspired track day designs. For the build, the goal was top of B Class road car, while staying rear-wheel drive and keeping the original character of the car. The target power range was 250 to 300 horsepower, which is exactly where this chassis makes the most sense. The final build comes in at B Class 600, 264 horsepower, 202 foot-pounds of torque. Weighing in at 2,753 pounds, it maintained its rear-wheel drive on sport tire compound. This is not a huge power increase, but that is kind of the point. The Altezza starts in the middle of C-Class, so there's a lot of room to improve the car without ruining it. You can add grip, reduce weight, improve the gearing, sharpen the suspension, and give the engine just enough extra power to make it feel alive. The main strength of this platform is that the car already handles well. You are not trying to fix a broken car, you are just refining a good one. The main weakness is the engine. The naturally aspirated 4-cylinder is fun, but it's not easy to make big power from it without forced induction or swapping engines. And because torque is limited, you have to drive the car in a way that keeps the momentum up. That makes this a very driver-focused B-Class build. It's not going to bail you out with huge power, you have to carry speed properly. With the build installed, the Altezza feels noticeably more alive. It still has that smooth, naturally aspirated delivery, but the extra torque helps a lot, especially on corner exit. It does not suddenly become a power car, but it does feel more eager. You can now get the rear of the car to help straighten the car out on exit, which makes it feel more useful in racing environment. Braking remains one of the strong points. The car still feels tight and controlled under braking, and it does not have a bad habit of locking up or getting unstable. You can push the braking zones pretty hard and the car stays composed. It makes it very easy to trust. And in B Class, that matters a lot, because a car that brakes consistently can make up a surprising amount of time. Turn-in is improved over stock. The front end feels sharper, and the car responds more quickly when you ask it to change direction. It still does not feel twitchy though, which is important. A lot of B-Class builds can become too stiff or too reactive, especially when you start chasing lap times. This Altezza still feels mild and approachable. Turns in better, but it keeps that smooth personality. Mid-corner, the car feels planted. Best part of this build is that it keeps stability of the stock car but adds enough grip and response to let you carry more speed through faster sweepers. It does feel very natural. Corner exit is where you feel the biggest difference. The car is more explosive than stock, but it also requires more throttle control. The rear traction is still good, but because there is more torque available, you need to be more deliberate with your inputs. It's not a difficult car to drive, but it does ask for a little more attention than the stock version. The stock car was safe and smooth. The built car is smooth, but now has a bit more personality. With the B-Class build, the Altezza ran a 102.610 around Hokubu. That is an improvement of 1.291 seconds over the stock lap. The best section was once again Sector 1. The car remained planted through the higher speed sweepers, but now carries more speed and gains momentum better on exit. That is exactly what you want from a B-Class road build. The weakest area was Sector 4, especially the final corners. That section introduced a little bit of over-rotation and it required some throttle off correction to keep the car clean. That does not make the car bad, it just means the build has moved slightly away from total safety and toward a more responsive and more active driving style. And personally, I think that's a good trade-off. The car is quicker, more engaging, and still easy enough to drive that you could race it with confidence. Now let's score it. The Altezza has a sleek late 90s design, and those taillights are obviously iconic. It has that perfect mix of family sedan and weekend track car. But it's still a fairly simple design, so I'm giving it a 2. Clean, recognizable, and stylish, but not visually wild. For handling, I'm giving it a 1. That might sound harsh because the car is easy to drive and very controlled. The issue is speed. Stock, it is mild, low powered, and not especially exciting. It handles well, but it does not have enough pace or aggression to score high here. It has very little rear-wheel drive traction loss. The acceleration is solid once built, and the braking is controlled with almost no lockup. It's not meta fast, but it's consistent and what matters. Customization also gets a 3. You get multiple TRD options, other body kits like the C-West, Kaminari, and Stillen, plus a strong list of engine swaps if you go crazy. It is not one of the deepest customization cars in the game, but it gives you enough to create several different versions of the car. And finally, fun factor gets a 1. This is a good cruising car, a great car meet car, and fun low-powered road build, but it's not especially exciting in a straight line, it's not a drag car, and it's not going to feel wild unless you heavily modify it. Its fun comes from subtlety, not chaos. That brings the final score to a 10 out of 25. And honestly, that score fits the car. The Altezza is not amazing at one specific thing. It is not the fastest, it is not the flashiest, and it's not the most exciting. But it's a really good all-around platform. It is balanced, easy to drive, great for close racing, and has enough Japanese sports sedan personality to make it worth building. So, would I recommend the 1999 Toyota Altezza RS200 Z Edition? Yes, but with the right expectations. If you want a car that is going to dominate B-Class lobbies, this probably is not the first thing I would pick. If you want something that feels explosive, aggressive, or overpowered, this is also not really that car. But if you want a clean, balanced, low-powered road build that rewards smooth driving, the Altezza is genuinely enjoyable. It's the kind of car that makes sense for toge-style driving, city cruising, casual track days, and close racing with friends. And because the chassis is already good, you do not have to completely transform it to make it work. This build keeps the original feel of the car, adds just enough performance, and turns it into a really solid B-Class road car. So if you want to try it out, the share code is 622-840-120. Give it a run at Hokubu, try to beat the 102.610, and let me know what you think of the Altezza. Is it underrated, or is it just a clean Japanese sedan with more reputation than performance? Either way, I think this is one of those cars that every JDM fan should build at least once, and with taillights like that, it's always going to be remembered. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more Forza car reviews, and drop a comment with what car you want to see next. As always, I'll see you in the next one.